Switch.
What's hood, Los Angeles? My name is John Eric Concordia from the Park's Finest, and we're gonna cruise with Justin Ferranda of Hi-Fi Kitchen around historic Filipino town. We're here at the Larry Itliong Center of PWC, the Filipino Workers Center, and we're cruising in a world-famous Sorao jeepney. So, baby, how are you?
What's it do? Man,
You good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Yeah,
So let's kick it. Let's cruise around with Mang Cesar and talk shop around the block.
Let's do it, man.
All right. One thing about historic Filipino town is we understand that we're not the majority of the population in this neighborhood. And even though statistically we have the most amount of Filipinos in Los Angeles, we definitely understand that a good chunk of them grew up here, settled here, raised their families, eventually moved on into different neighborhoods like Eagle Rock, West Covina, North Hollywood, Cerritos, Long Beach, and Carson. And there's always somebody that was connected here.
Yeah, Hi-Fi is the landing pad for sure. When my family was moving out this way, this is where you would like meet, they would connect you, and then you move on from here, you know?
Yeah, so there was just elements where it wasn't something that you wanted to settle in. The idea was save up money and move to the suburbs, right? But now we realize the convenience, the culture, the history of what this place is. This is the original West Side. This is the beginning. That's First Street. This is Beverly, right? On the other side is the East Side, Boyle Heights. And this is a component of Los Angeles's deep history of downtown Los Angeles, historic Filipino town, Echo Park, Rampart District. And this is where immigrants from Central America, from Southeast Asia, and all over convened. And this is one of the few places where we were allowed to even live, because we get beat up if we stepped out of bounds. So a lot of the neighborhoods, the gangs that were here, really dealt with racism and protected themselves.
And
Let's
I grew
go
up
straight.
here.
Yeah, we'll go straight.
But the thing is, the neighborhood was a little shifty, right, back then. So I would have to go to my parents' work and after school to like do my homework and all that stuff. And I did that, you know, for 8 years up and through high school. And I don't know how to ride a bike. I was never taught how to ride a bike. And I think that was on purpose. I don't think my dad really wanted to teach me, because mobbing out in this neighborhood was not safe, man.
The fact that your parents were protecting you by keeping you close to the hip kind of speaks to how rough it was in this neighborhood, but also the fact that you're still trying to connect with this neighborhood by opening up a shop in the block.
See, but the thing is, like, when I was young, it was you guys, your generation, that I looked up to. You know what I mean? Like, that was cool. That culture was cool. The communal part of being in gangs was like cool to me, right? I couldn't go to parties unless I was clicked up with a certain gang, because, oh, don't mess with him because he's this person's homie.
So post riots, I was a kid that the World War II veterans, anti-martial law activists, World War II veterans, teachers, organizers, counselors, drug dealers, and gangsters said, all right, let's identify some kids in the neighborhood who are potentially at-risk youth. They could potentially get into trouble. And if we offer them services, we offer them, you know, leadership training, cultural dancing components, hang out with the Chinese kids, the Latino kids, the Korean kids, the Japanese American kids, give them something to do. Ideally, they won't be members of the neighborhood. So there was a negotiation to say, let these kids just be kids when we were at SEPA. And we were lucky enough to then reinvest and come back to the community and build in the community we grew up in.
Yeah.
But now they recognize that this is a place where it's a hop and a skip from everything and anything with a character that's very small town. But what we want to do is be a part of that small town. We don't want to get moved out. So opening up businesses that offer jobs for people to pay their rent in the neighborhood and stay in the neighborhood is something that small businesses really try to strive for.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is investing it back, right? Investing it back into the neighborhood and making sure that there's a line, there's a connection from LA to the Philippines, and giving people opportunity to enjoy the culture, right? Not just Filipinos that want to eat Filipino food, but everyone else in LA that want to explore Filipino food.
We wanted to be the Shakey's of the block, right? For Echo Park, Little League games and dodgeball tournaments and the old people, the old tennis, Echo Park Tennis Club full of Filipinos. It's something where we always wanted to hold space, and even from an old needs assessment on butcher paper. What do you want? A place to gather, a place that's our own.
Yeah.
Some place to eat, some place to commune. And that was in 1992. So thinking about that and being able to offer that, and then you offering that, I think it's a testament to the dreams and aspirations of our people and how we can push a little bit further along.
If we didn't find a place in the neighborhood, I don't know if I would have opened a restaurant. You know, like that's very much like ingrained in the fabric of the mission is to bring visibility to the neighborhood. And so, you know, 30 years later, right, of me just, you know, growing up in this neighborhood, I was just like, you know what, like, it's still not visible. And fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself. I just, you know, take it into my own hands.
But part of it too is we weren't trying to be visible. We were trying to blend in. And that's one of some of the dynamics of being Filipino, being a colony of the United States. We weren't trying to showcase being Filipino.
I see that.
During that time, it was difficult and actually a detriment for you to be something different. So in a community that didn't also think about holding on, we moved on. So there's no point in us necessarily having something that's decoratively Filipino if Filipinos don't even invest in it.
No, dude, but how does it feel to be like a destination, bro? You're
It's
straight
exciting.
up.
It's exciting, but also like it hurts when people say nothing special. What we do is authentic historic Filipino town food. This does not exist outside of this block,
Right.
or it does, but it didn't formulate
Yeah.
until it was really formulated in this block.
Yeah.
It's familiar to Filipinos, but something different,
Yeah.
as well as for Americans enjoying something that makes sense to them, but is also new.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that's the thing. Like historic Filipino town is not the Philippines.
No, it's not
You know
the
what I
Philippines.
mean? But like we are influenced. The way that we honor being Filipino is taking our influences from our culture and receive the influence from the neighborhoods around us. You know what I mean?
You have to.
That's what historic Filipino town is. You know? Our version of Thousand Island. It's called 7K. We call it 7K, 7,000 Island, because there's 7,000 islands in the Philippines. The bread stays protected. And then this is our eggplant patty. Wow.
And I think this neighborhood tries to personify a small town feel in the City of Angels, but know that you're going to be taken care of if you are welcomed here. So, love letter to this block. We love you. We're thankful for you. And we're gonna take care of you.
That's our 1,000.
Not 4K, 7K.
No, that's our 1,000 island, right? There's 7,000 islands in the Philippines. So.
And that is an eggplant tortang talong
Burger. Yes, sir. Oh. Blam. Being historic Filipino town, being an extension from the Philippines in Los Angeles, it's really, this is a place to be Filipino American. Being Filipino is one thing, being American is another thing. Being Filipino American, that's another thing, and that's a disposition that one must celebrate. You know what I mean? That's what makes you different. That's what makes you you. And I think Hi-Fi, this is a place to embrace that.
Yeah. I mean, we've been very active of making sure that the community is able to access and have use of the park.
Yeah.
Magandang gabi. FilAm Arts acknowledges the Gabrielino Tongva peoples as the traditional land caretakers of the Tongva known as Los Angeles today. Kinikilala ng FilAm Arts sa mga taong Gabrielino, Tongva bilang tradisyonal na tagapag-alaga ng lupa na Tongvar o tinatawag nating Los Angeles. Good evening, magandang gabi po. I am G. Tanji, the Executive Director of FilAm Arts, and here we are to close out Barrio Fino with a love letter to Hi-Fi. Opening up our evening tonight, we have Sultry, who is a Filipinx artist, creatrix, connector of Waray, Pangasinan, Ilocano, and Ilonggo ancestry, and Marshallese culture influence and upbringing. Sultry uses prayers, chants, songs, movements, and co-creates to uplift unseen spirits and untold stories from the places and peoples that have called them in. Ladies and gentlemen, mga kababayan, put your hands together. Sultry.
Salamat sa inyong lahat. Thank you so much to all of you who have made this possible. I am Sultry, like the dear and beautiful Don G just said. So for tonight's performances, I'll be sharing a little bit about our culture, a few language points. And the first thing that I'd like to share is about this song. This intro song is called Diwa from the project Anyo at Halad by my dear friends Nick, June, Dayan, and Farid. Diwa means spirit, and as we open up with this beautiful song, I invoke the spirit of our ancestors to bless Barrio Fino, Levitt, Pavilion, FilAm Arts, and all the people that have made this possible, and all the artists that have blessed us so far today. And today we'll be sharing 3 songs from my project called Gem. I co-created it with my amazing DJ, producer, and engineer here, DC, to my right. It's such an honor to be here with you all today. Maraming salamat po. This first track is called Go With The Flow. We've been through this before together. My brother, we storm worse weather. Like a feather so light and out of sight, knowing deep in our hearts that we deserve better. Couldn't speak the words, so I wrote it in a letter. Reinvent myself so much, people I know I never met her. It's they, them, this is the self I always knew. Anomaly the most, body more than I could chew. Yeah, I don't know. Ooh, where to go. So we just go. With the flow. Yeah, I'm a biter, I'm a fighter, I'm a climber. You can find me on paper in a folder or a binder, or a book. You crook, got the type of vibe that makes everybody look. You could get hooked, but that's not in my intention. I pray we are all sovereign over self. Did I mention divine by design? Creatrix extension, balancing the worlds in delicate suspension. Yeah, I don't know. Ooh, where to go. So we just go. flow right now. We don't really know what's going on. And in that unknown, we are united. We are connected. We gotta trust in one another so that we can be trusted. Maraming salamat. This next track is called Only Human. And in my language, there's a phrase that says, tao lang po. And when we enter homes, we say, tao po. Are there people in there? Are there people, spirits and bodies in there? So this song is about compassion, about humility, about humanity, our shadow and our light. And so without further ado, this is Only Human. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Writings and mirrors all over the walls. I get so sad when some merchants to fall. I really prefer when you do not call. We're only human at the end of it all. When you live it up, you are having a ball. Trying to do the same, but your loves me stall. Stall. While you build the wall. Writings and mirrors all over the walls. I get so sad when some merchants to fall. I really prefer when you do not call. We're only human at the end of it all. When you live it up, you are having a ball. Trying to do the same, but your loves me stall. Stall. While you build the wall. Was deep in self-denial. I acted like a child. What I couldn't say then, I'm feeling now. My jaw locked up in the presence of your energy. Throat chakra, sensing who are friends and enemies. Most times it ain't worth the fight or fine. We'll take your thing if that thing ain't mine. Called upon for Christ in the prevention. Got God complex. I know, I can tell. I'm ready in your spell. Read the spelling. Writings and mirrors all over the walls. I get so sad when some merchants to fall. I really prefer when you do not call. We're only human at the end of it all. When you live it up, you are having a ball. Trying to do the same, but your loves me stall. Stall. While you build the wall. Writings and mirrors all over the walls. I get so sad when some merchants to fall. I really prefer when you do not call. We're only human at the end of it all. When you live it up, you are having a ball. Trying to do the same, but your loves me stall. Stall. While you build the wall. I was the only one who wasn't ready, but their names I'm gladly forgetting. Took steps forward and a long pause. Now I'm back to easy rock steady. I do not care about all your opinions. Banana heads who love acting like minions. Utah wars are for egos and heroes. Keep my level of hurt. I gotta belt it out. Melting the fear without a doubt. This whole time I figured out. Without my feet on the ground, I was just chasing clouds. Writings and mirrors all over the walls. I get so sad when some merchants to fall. I really prefer when you do not call. We're only human at the end of it all. When you live it up, you are having a ball. Trying to do the same, but your loves me stall. Stall. While you build the wall. Writings and mirrors all over the walls. I get so sad when some merchants to fall. I really prefer when you do not call. We're only human at the end of it all. When you live it up, you are having a ball. Trying to do the same, but your loves me stall. Stall. While you build the wall. Writings and mirrors all over the wall. I get so sad from the summer to fall. Prefer when you do not call. Human at the end of it all. Tao lang po. Yeah, and I got a little prop for y'all. Just want to bless this space with some flowers, some calichuchi, some plumeria. This is a beautiful flower that blesses our land from the Philippines to the Marshall Islands. And as sultry, I just want to share that with all of you. And this next track, my final track, it's called Severed, and it's about how we are disconnected and how through knowing and connecting and through our art, we can be reconnected again. desert. Clothes a little tethered, just like birds we stay fly and flock together. Under the lines on my face and the way the skin hangs. Now our greatest grand Lola smile through depression. Somehow surviving things too dark to mention or speak out loud. We are like a million suns peering through the clouds, disappeared and disappeared. I gotta let go of all fear. I channel the messages and meanings of those I revere. That is severe. And we've been severed. Is this the her story you do not remember? Been keeping the light for you, a flicker in my ember. I knew you'd come back in the middle of September. For that I'm thankful. For that I'm thankful. This next verse I dedicate to all Filipino artists in our motherland and in the diaspora. Kaya natin to. This is worth it. You are worth it, and your voice is important. Let's keep doing it. Let's get it. Nagpapasalamat sa lupa, langit at dagat. Ang karga-karga natin ay sobrang mabigat. Dahan-dahan lang tayo sa atin pag-akyat. Kaya tuwing nagpapaalam sinasabi, ingat, ilang libong taon na tayong nagpapatayan tungkol sa sarili natin. Wala tayong kamalayan. Anong klaseng peking at pinagtanggol na kalayaan binigay daw sa atin, hanggang ngayon binabayaran. Nako ina, nako ama, mga tao tayong lahat. Basura nating nakabukas sa kalsada. Binabasta ang buhay tulad ng maruming labada. Kaya nagwawala at nawawala bawat isa sa atin, sa atin, sa atin, sa atin lahat niya. Bawat isa. That is severe, and we've been severed. Don't you remember? That is severe, my dear. Yeah. Maraming salamat. It has been an honor to bless this stage, to be in your presence, and to continue our culture and blessing this beautiful land, this native land. Maraming salamat.
Welcome to the Levitt LA.
Bienvenidos a Leve LA.
This one or this one? This one. Ah, okay.
Since 2007, we make music accessible to all.
Hacemos que la música sea accesible para todos.
Free live music.
Free live music.
Gratis todo el verano.
All summer long. No importa quién seas, eres bienvenido en nuestros conciertos.
No matter who you are welcome at our concerts.
We create stronger and more connected communities.
We are diverse. Somos diversos.
Dynamic.
And of the city.
We are multi-generational.
Unique.
Talented.
Y de la gente.
Una vez que somos amigos,
siempre seremos amigos.
Once we are friends for life.
MacArthur Park is our home.
MacArthur Park es nuestro hogar.
Y estamos orgullosos del parque.
And we are park proud.
We are Los Angeles.
Somos Los Ángeles.
Somos Levitt LA.
We are Levitt LA.
We are Levitt LA.
All right.
Hi, I'm Giselle Tongi Walters.
And I'm Marus Dumalaog.
And we're representing FilAm Arts. We're here at Tribal Cafe to have a conversation about arts and culture in hi-fi. Come on. Tribal Cafe.
We're here. You know what's super cool about this place though is that back in the day,
there used to be open mics where artists could
Here.
express themselves, do
Spoken
word, you know, like all kinds of stuff.
So Alison De La Cruz and Fran De Leon are going to be talking about theater and arts here in historic Filipino town.
Oh, cool. I can't wait to hear what they have to say. Enjoy.
Cheers. Here's the Tribal Cafe.
Thank you. I'm Alison De La Cruz, and I want to say welcome to my friend and guest, Fran De Leon. I'm so excited we're going to get a chance to have this beautiful conversation today. Here in historic Filipino town at Tribal Cafe, which has been a critical place for arts and culture in hi-fi. Certainly myself and several other DJs used to spend a lot of time here. I know open mics have happened here. I was telling you a story about, I did a monologue in this room once, connected to Giants in the Sky from the musical Into the Woods.
I love that.
And I know we had met, I think we figured out in the 90s. I worked at Pomona College at the time, and you had come and brought your play Faces of America. And so I remember we met, and it was like, oh my gosh, she's Filipino. Hi, I'm Filipino too.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and kind of in the same work, you know, being arts and being, you know, involved with social justice. That was so exciting to meet someone in an educational institution, because I've been touring the country and meeting tons of people, but to actually meet FilAm and here, and the fact that we didn't know each other, which is crazy, you know, and about as crazy as the fact that I didn't really know a whole lot about hi-fi. In fact, I think I heard hi-fi from you. That was the first. I was like, oh, okay. That's what we call historic Filipino sound. But yeah, you know, because as you said, I was one of those people who was like a drive-through, like, let's go get our food, let's go to the bakery, let's go to Betsy's, right? Yeah. And so it wasn't until, I guess, I don't know how many decades ago, I don't know how to count years anymore, but not until my adult life that I knew how deeply rooted in community and the arts historic Filipino town is.
Definitely. And I feel like we reconnected around 2004 when you were in the LA premiere production of Jessica Hagedorn's Dog Eaters, produced, I believe, by Playwrights Arena and SIPA, Search to Involve Filipino Americans, directed by John Lawrence Rivera. And you were in that company. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like to make that piece of not only American theater, but specifically Filipino American theater in the neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing about it, right? Is that it actually was happening here in the Filipino community, the Filipino American community. And as I said, I wasn't really familiar with the area the way you are. And I wasn't even familiar with FilAm actors. I walked into that room, into that rehearsal room across the street from Search to Involve Filipino Americans, and an entire room filled with almost all Filipino American actors. And it felt like I arrived home. And I felt like I was with my cousins. And just that immediate connection with each other I've never experienced anything like it. It really was once in a lifetime productions. We're still all in touch. We're still really close to each other. We still work with each other as much as we can. And then doing it at SIPA, who had built this space to create theater, to be able to provide more artistic experiences, to this community and the broader audience as well, was really special.
And yeah, just to see that it was born here in historic Filipino town, that we had this predominantly Filipino American cast, to see it go to mainstream theater space here in Los Angeles was a super powerful experience. And then I remember I got to host a post-show conversation with the Dog Eaters cast, which is how I met the director, John. And then years later, in 2009, John cast us in the Filipino American play Ruby Tragically Rotund by Bonnie Alvarez. And we had a chance to connect and bond even deeper as castmates and friends. And at the time, I was living here in historic Filipino town, not too far from SIPA, on the property of Dulce Cappadocia and her family, which is a deep performing arts Filipino dance family here in historic Filipino town. And I just think about those times in terms of like connecting as Filipino American artists, and certainly you as an actor, a director, a producer, we have to tell an authentic story, but we don't get to not be persistent in our pursuit of our work and our craft. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about, as a director, like how do you, or as an artist, like how do you find projects? I know like you were telling me a little bit about walking through the neighborhood.
Yeah, well, I feel like projects find me, and I've just learned to listen to what stories want to be told. And one of the practices that I've started doing is whatever piece I'm working on is to stop for a moment and ask the ancestors permission to tell these stories, because they're not mine. I mean, I'm connected to them, but I want to make sure that I'm telling the right story, the story that they want to be told. And one of the stories that came to me was when I was creating a movement piece for Grand Park, and it was the theme was origins, and so I wanted to do the origin of historic Filipino town because I didn't know it myself, so I wanted to learn. And I stumbled upon the monument to the Filipino American World War II veterans called Valor, and it remembered, yeah, my dad was a guerrilla soldier, you know, and he fought. And in my head, that's how we moved here, was from him gaining citizenship, which he was not given because all of the benefits and all the promises that were made to the FilAm vets were rescinded 2 years after the war ended. So I decided I wanted to focus on that story. I wanted to make that movement piece about it. And so I created a short film, a documentary about the vets. And that was kind of the second phase. And now going into the third phase of expanding that even more. It just really, I let the project find me in a sense, and just being open to that.
And I appreciate that, like, that's what you're doing right now. And it just makes me think about how, you know, we're in 2021. In 2012, we had an opportunity to create a new work called Smoke and Mirrors that we got to also premiere here in historic Filipino town. And conceptually for me, it was a play that was trying to look at this history of this American town, historic Filipino town, and the history of Filipino American farm workers and the dance halls and hi-fi that used to exist, and the mix of folks. And so, and then for me as a queer Filipino American, it was like, how do I also see myself in these stories? And so having this opportunity to collaborate with you as the director was just such a gift. I wonder if you want to talk a little bit about, for our audience, about what our 2012 was like with Smoke and Mirrors. And
we, again, projects finding us, right? I feel like I opened an envelope and it was like a reveal of like, you're working with Alison De La Cruz. And in my head, that's how it worked. And I loved your concept where you said, you know, film noir, taxi dance hall, and transgender. And to be able to put that on, you know, and at first you go, how does that all match together, set in like, you know, the 30s? And I think in collaborating and really just talking about it, I think we made something really special that is, to this day, one of my favorite projects.
And so just to see that restaurant and that fam has survived, that tribal has survived, like there are these places where Filipino American theater can thrive, even though we don't necessarily have a Filipino American theater yet here in historic Filipino
And that
town.
is missing in LA. I mean, come on, there really should be a Filipino American theater.
Yeah. If we were to write a love letter to historic Filipino town, what might it be?
It would be like a thank you letter for reminding me of who I am, and reminding me that there is home, and that it's easy to find. You just got to look.
My love letter is, hi-fi is a place that is home that I have to keep coming back to. And this love letter project reminds me that it is a place that births Filipino American artists and plays and theater, in cafes, in social service agencies, on sidewalks in front of our restaurants, that we are allowed to be the full diversity of what it means and complexity to be Filipino American in this moment, and tell our stories through this wonderful craft that is theater.
Yeah.
So,
and even like with or without a building, we're crafty, man.
We
will
are.
figure
We
it
are.
out.
We
We'll
are.
find a place to make it happen. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, here in downtown. Our next performers, Apperson is an alternative rock band from Los Angeles, composed of POCs, queers, immigrant, punks, emo kids, hardcore kids, proving that being a minority doesn't have to stop when you're having the time of your life. Put your hands together, please, for Apperson. Rock and roll!
Inside this empty house, a lit cigarette in my mouth. This is how it feels when all my friends are gone. I stare at picture frames of the times that we knew were great, and as light hits them, it fades away. Best times, even the worst nights, I'm made perfect from where I stand with you. The drunken nights we spent as we hit the road in our van, playing all these hits till the voices are gone, singing, I want something else to get me through this life. The best times, even long drives, as we see the sun go up again. And we thought that this will never end, and as time runs out on this, we realize when people grow, all my demons in my head. I never let the worst get to me, but I never caught anything. She said, rather have him than you in my bed. That's a pretty awful thing to say, but it's okay. I guess I sing it out loud. Never let the worst get to me. Every thought of you cut so deep. That's a pretty messed up thing you did. so floating in my head. I know I never let it off too easily. I know that there is still parts of me that makes you think. She said, no matter what I do, this healing said, never get a chance anymore. 'Cause I messed up. Get to sing it out loud. Never let the worst get to me. Every thought of you cuts so deep. That's a pretty awful thing we did. So floating in my head, I guess I sing it out loud. Never let the worst get to me. Never thought of you got so deep. Voices in my head, wish wish you were dead. What's up, guys of YouTube? I don't know what to say. This is cool. We're on top of a building. You're probably at home eating dinner. But anyways, thank you for checking us out. We're Apperson. We're from, well, he's from historic Filipino town. I'm from Glendale. I wasn't born there. I was born in the Philippines, so that's hi-fi by passing. Anyways, we got one more for you. And then there's a bunch of people gonna talk. And then it's Ella J. Bosco. Yee. This is cool. Just playing a show again is cool. Tuning my guitar again is cool. Anyways. Anyways, here's the last song. It's called Close. It's about someone special. Duh. Never say how much I tried. I never thought that I was good enough for you. I'll never be so close to you. And I'll never take your love for granted. I'll never be so close to you. I'll never take your love for nothing. It's only you. Maybe there's a place where I will never never see how much I tried. I never thought that I'd be good enough for this. Little pieces of my life will never see how much you cried. I never thought that I was good enough for you. I'll never be so close to you. I'll never take your love for granted. I'll never be so close to you. And I'll never take your love for nothing. So I'll never be so close to you. And I'll never take your love for granted. I'll never be so close to you. And I'll never take your love for nothing. So lay you.
Llegó el verano y no hay verano sin una buena parrillada. Arma tu equipo parrillero con Food. El Masterchef, el botanero, el DJ y no puede faltar un buen catador. Comparte con nosotros una foto o video de tu equipo parrillero usando productos Food. Además, participa en la rifa de 200 kits Food para la parrilla. Son más de $40,000 en premios. Participa y gana este verano con Food. Food, welcome to the familia.
It is a joy and an honor today to celebrate the establishment in the city of Los Angeles of historic Filipino town. There you see it. Contributions of Filipinos in America are grand, wide, and great. And that is what we celebrate today, that they have a historic home, a heart for their community, a place where all Filipinos are welcome and will continue to prosper and flourish.
Hi, I'm Ryan Carpio. I sometimes co-host This Filipino American Life, but in my past life, I actually used to be a field representative for historic Filipino town. I got to learn the neighborhoods, got to meet the people, got to really know some of the roots of how civic government works, but also how that impacts daily life for Filipino Americans and others in Los Angeles. My relationship with historic Filipino town started with someone you're gonna meet right now. His name, Mayor Eric Garcetti. Mr. Mayor, how are you?
Good to be with you.
Good to see you.
Great to see you, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Historic Filipino town. I know it's something that's near and dear to your heart. It's something that I grew up not knowing about because I wasn't here actually when you first designated historic Filipino town. Can you walk us back to the early 2000s? Your involvement in the designation of this neighborhood, maybe the challenges that you faced and what you did to make it happen.
So I started to engage with a lot of those veterans that were living in the Temple Beaudry kind of area, in those areas kind of between, Silver Lake and MacArthur Park, where there had been a concentration not just of veterans, but the traditional place that the Filipino Americans went when downtown wouldn't allow so many people to live there, and the segregation forced Filipinos to go to the west. When I became a council member, I hired George Villanueva, who was the field deputy for the area, and sat down with all of the Filipino American groups who in the past had almost been on the verge of designating a Filipino town.
If you could write a love letter to historic Filipino town, what would it say?
I feel it's like my kind of college sweetheart, you know, that love that you remember. And one of the proudest things I've ever done to create this place for all of us, but also for and with and alongside and behind the Filipino community who led. You captured my heart. You're an amazing neighborhood rich with Filipino history and Christian history and African American history. You know, two major church denominations were founded there. This was where the action has been. And this is your time. I would say you're somebody, one of those exes you'll stay close with always. And I want to be your friend forever. And I remember what we had and what we created, and it was so special. Never forget to tap into that. And never forget the next generation needs to fall in love with you too.
FilAm Art's mission is to bring people and communities together through the power of Filipino American arts and culture. Partnerships and collaboration for presentation, representation, and education, so that we break down language and generational barriers in order to build community through cultural diversity, equity, and inclusion. Embracing the value of kapwa, or shared being, the mission of the Association for the Advancement of Filipino American Arts and Culture, or FilAm Arts, is to facilitate community synergy and transformation by advancing the arts and diverse cultural heritage of Filipinos through art services, presentation, and education. The legacy of FilAm Arts continues with a long-standing tradition of presenting Filipino arts and culture to the broader community, now through film, theater, and media. Support our work by visiting www.filamartsla.org today.
What I can tell the youngsters of today is that to follow the roots of their ancestors, like for instance the good deeds that they have done to their community. Especially here, there are so many Filipino Americans who are really, they have probably forgotten what the heritage of the past. It's very important, you might say imperative, for the Hi-Fi to gather the community as one.
So what would you tell the people out there who are continuing to organize and build community? What would you tell to this new generation?
My advice to the youngster, or to the Hi-Fi in particular, is to group these youngsters as one, and not to forget where they come from, where their forefathers have been here, to be accessible to the Hi-Fi in order that we can continue on our communication.
Dear Hi-Fi, before you were named, I was here rolling by. I didn't know you then, wasn't even yet 10, driving down your streets, not me, my ma, cutting through traffic, some days in a panic, carload of us from the Bay rushing to auditions, to and from Southeast LA. Fish out of water, swimming with the bloodstream, chasing that American dream. I didn't know you then, still unnamed, that space above downtown. I was a teenager back when, keeping it real. Skirts too short, shoes too large to fill, jeans too big, shirts too small. Clothes like costumes, we roamed these concrete ballrooms, going to an NPR to catch some culture, a reading of the debut, a play called Dog Eaters. Like I didn't know you then, my return from New York, finding myself at Medusa, throwback 90s hip-hop night, must have missed the historic Filipino town signage under the streetlight. Too busy with my post-punk band playing bootleg theater, too distracted to notice the neighborhood, the gold glimmer. Drunken nights at Tommy's, the classic, sobering next days at Tribal Cafe, a tonic, a duplex off MacArthur Park, living. I would go to Langer's for the Reuben, for the nostalgia. I didn't know you then, but you took me in anyway. 2 kids later, heartstorms thereafter. Providing communion in Downey, the Valley, 5th and Spring, Industrial Alleys, Orange County, then on Temple, we bloomed. Palms Up Academy. Yeah, I didn't know it then, but Bosco House finally came home, summoning me like a heartbeat. You became my metronome. A continuation of work on my part and yours, highlighted monongs on a wall. On the other side, our future calls. Katipunan at Fakla, recess at SIPA, FilAm Arts, staging the arena, jumping on Sundays at PWC, learning how to stand at FOSGI. Bellies full at Park's Finest, hi-fi kitchen for breakfast, looking for answers at the bar at Geneva, still learning our history, still exploring our capacity, holding space at this intersection, reconditioning our humanity. A rhombus busting at the seams, a chorus bursting to be seen, a patch of land marked by the Latinx, the locals, the hipsters, the others, the Filipinx, still learning about X, how we interconnect. 2 lines crossing, longing for equality, coexisting with diversity. I didn't know you then. I didn't know all that you were, all that you'd become to me, all that you were beckoning me to see. I wonder if they knew. Our heroes and sheroes of yesteryears, in a province drying rice on the side of the road, tending fields, navigating street bustles, negotiating side hustles, living on a prayer, waiting on papers, waiting for boats, for planes, for hope, taking that risk across the sea to land here, the home of the free, a better future for their family. I wonder if they knew how hard it would be. Faced with no Filipinos allowed signs, redefining their necklines, how they would have to build their own, carve out neighborhoods alone, finding solace at Loreto, at St. Columban, or Filipino Christian Church to keep their kids fed at Bahay Kubu or Little Ongpin. Going to Temple Seafood Market, bills paid, property bought, dignity saved, just to see each other as human, escaping their own burden of not belonging. I wonder if they knew how their efforts would be devalued, overlooked, underestimated, invisible, impossible. They would be expected to assimilate, to fit in, to wait, to succeed, to excel, to be disciplined, expected to conform to their assignment, a model minority, this America trying to erase their ancestry. I wonder if they knew we would take the collective remnants of Little Manila from across the nation, from Stockton to Queens, staking our ground, creating our very own P-Town. A gateway on Beverly, co-signing our unity, and between Dillon and Robinson, with our palms up, we join in community. I wonder if they knew that their struggle would persevere, their tradition of kapwa we'd adhere, their ritual of dance and music and laughter would carry us through caretaking and commerce and business, our heritage, our compass. I wonder if they knew that we would remember them, commemorate them, honor them. There would be evidence of them in all that we do. Even when we didn't even know it then. They were building our truth. So hi-fi for then and now, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you for bearing the undertow of this American dream. If it wasn't for yours, we couldn't be living ours. Love me.
Levitt LA is for everyone.
Because music is for everyone.
La música es para todos.
It's a place where people come together from all walks of life.
Es un lugar donde todos se unen de todos caminos de la vida.
To be inspired and feel alive.
Para gozar la música y sentirse inspirados y vivos.
We co-curate our concerts with dozens of partners from LA and the world.
Co-curamos conciertos con docenas de socios de Los Ángeles y el mundo.
We invite over 150 performing artists at 50 concerts every summer.
But we don't do it alone. Please donate today at levittlosangeles.org or through Venmo.
Pero no lo hacemos solos. Por favor, dona hoy. levittlosangeles.org.
O por Venmo.
Levitt LA loves you.
And we'll see you again soon.
Levitt LA te ama. y nos vemos pronto.
Closing out Barrio Fino's A Love Letter to Hi-Fi is multi-hyphenate Ella J. Bosco. She's an actress, a singer, a songwriter, an activist. You may have seen her donning the mantle of Cassandra Cain, one of the first Asian American female superheroes in Warner Brothers' Birds of Prey. Most recently, Ella collaborated with Ruby Ibarra on Gold. Now available on all platforms. Put your hands together for our finale, Ella J. Bosco.
What is gold? Gold is beautiful. Gold is royalty. Gold is the color of my skin. I'm Ella J. Bosco, and this is Gold featuring Ruby Ibarra. Let's get it. Head to toe, I'm dipped in gold. And I know that I'll break the mold. When you learn to love your true reflection, yeah, then you'll always be rich with a gold complexion. I don't need your silverware or your unfair comparisons, 'cause I know my hair is darker than hers is. I'm looking at photographs, all the California girls are smiling back, but it don't matter if I don't look like them. Sometimes I never win, but I was blessed with a golden skin. Don't stress about where you've been, just look inside, find what's within. Girl, you know you're beautiful, stand tall, unmovable, it's undisputable. You a boss bitch as usual, you a boss bitch as usual. Head to toe, I'm dipped in gold, and I know that'll break the mold. When you learn to love your true reflection, yeah, then you'll always be rich with a gold complexion. I look around and I wonder if I'm good enough, but what's good enough if I don't love myself enough? They tell me toughen up, but I can never make the cut. Just give it up, I'm feeling like I'm falling and I'm on the cusp. Brown girl, gold crown, watch me hold down, watch me go round. Scream it loud 'cause I know now everything I am, from my name to my hometown, is everything that's planned, 'cause today I'm a glow now. They think I'm that girl, tell me how to act, girl. Put me in the back like I'm trapped and I lack words, but I'm that girl, never falling black, girl. Cast me in the sea that it's a rap where I'm at world, 'cause I'm that girl, assassin on the track, girl. No question if I will, or I can like I'm back, girl. I'm a boss bitch and I'm beautiful. You're a boss bitch that's beautiful. You're a boss bitch that's beautiful. Head to toe, I'm dipped in gold, and I know that'll break the mold. But when you learn to love your true reflection, yeah, then you'll always be rich with a gold complexion. Head to toe, I'm dipped in gold, and I know that'll break the mold. But when you learn to love your true reflection, yeah, then you'll always be rich with a gold complexion. I'm brown and I'm proud, I'm brown and I'm proud, I'm brown and I'm proud, yeah, yeah. I'm brown and I'm proud, I'm brown and I'm proud, I'm brown and I'm proud, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Now, this next song, I got another question for you. Have y'all ever met a mean girl? And not like Lindsay Lohan mean girl, I mean like real mean girl. Yeah, this song's about that. Hit it. I've been wasting all my time, something I don't usually do. You always said we were partners in crime, but your sloppy seconds don't have a clue. Oh, I'm so sick and tired of these lies. I'm not some puppet doll on strings, so you can kiss my doo-doo ass goodbye, and don't come crawling back to me. Oh, you just watch your back, take my love. Oh, you're so mean. Mean, 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 mean. I don't need your games. You're the one to blame. I'm not some puppet doll. Don't tie me to your stupid schemes. You're so mean. Toxic plans, you check off your list. All the drama just seems like trouble. Funny how you act like I don't exist. I'm sorry I don't fit in your bubble. Oh, I'm so sick and tired of these lies. I'm not some puppet doll on strings. So you think it's my due to ask goodbye. And don't come crawling back to me. Oh, you just push and shove. Watch your back, take my love. Oh, you're so mean. Mean, 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 mean. I don't need your game. You're the one to blame. I'm not some puppet doll. Don't tie me to your stupid schemes. You're so mean. Mean, 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 mean. Oh, you're so mean. Thank you, thank you. So, before we go, I want to do one last song. Are you guys ready? I also want to introduce my band. This is Randy on acoustic guitar and piano. I got Fuzzy here on the bass, and Edwin on the drums. I'm Ella J. Bosco, and this is our last song, Ballad of the Cassandra Cain. Used to think I was flying so low, hanging from a ledge, trying not to let go. Ever since I could remember, I've looked over my shoulder. Don't rely on any dark nights, run alone because it feels right. Just like growing up when you're on your own, just makes you go older. And I've been on my own for so long, but then you came and rescued me. Showed up and I joined the party. I'll never be the same. You made me feel like I've got wings, flying higher than the things that weighed me down. Now that you're around, I'm feeling like a bird of prey. Feeling like a bird of prey. To believe there are things that we can't hide, like the diamond only shining from the inside. The only difference is the mask that you wear. You should've told all your grievances, just forget about your weaknesses. I'll never be alone as long as you're there. And I've been on my own for so long, but then you came and rescued me. Showed up and I joined the party. I'll never be the same. You made me feel like I've got wings, flying higher than the things that weighed me down. Now that you're around, I'm feeling like a bird of prey. Feeling like a bird of prey. C is for the criminal who doesn't need a cape. Don't need the damn credit to make you hesitate. A is for the asshole, and if you mess with me, I'll be stealing, I'll go hungry, everything in between. No S is for surviving on the streets all alone. Don't need a stupid family, I can handle on my own. C, A, double S, A, and your A. Got you watching dead and diamond, that's me. Sunny pain. Pray. I'm feeling like a bird of prey. 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 You already know my name. Don't mess with Cassandra Cain.
All right, that concludes Barrio Fino, a love letter to Hi-Fi. Thank you, Ella J. Your band, thank you so much. What you saw tonight is just a snapshot of the culture and the beautiful art that comes out of historic Filipino town and our culture. Please support the arts, especially at this time. What you don't understand is artists are essential, especially in this pandemic. Get vaccinated if you haven't. Thank you so much, Levitt Pavilion, for making this possible with FilAm Arts. Be safe, everybody, and remember, support the arts. All right. Bye, everybody.